minutes we can go ahead for matching is 20. Parallel degree. If we want to go ahead and do any kind of parallel processing on this particular table, we can increase that. But we don't increase these because if let's say if I'm doing two parallel, then if there is any update on a single attribute by multi-thread, you don't know which one will be updated or it might go ahead into a wrong area and form a issue for us. Generate match tokens on load. If we enable it, then all the batch load, whenever the batch is coming up, the tokens for that particular data will be created in the load time itself. All those things are there. So state management, we discussed what is the state management. This link style and merge style. So for link style, it was earlier, it was there. Now it is utilized or now it is being given as per requirement as an external plugin. Only in that you'll be able to have a link style as well, which means it will create a new table for linking. It will create a new relationship whenever there is a data to be merged together. So it will still have duplicates, but it will be reflecting as relative to each other, stating that it's a duplicate data. Okay. The last one is lookup indicator. So any base object, if we have to create it as a reference table, the difference between a normal main table and a reference table is this flag. If this flag is enabled, that means it's a reference table. If it's not enabled, that means it's a main table. And that is why these naming convention came in. So BO comes for base object, LKP comes for lookup or reference table. Okay. So we have a state management which is enabled. We'll go ahead and save that.
And from where do you enable that the other one, that workflow?
Workflow. So workflow is something you go ahead and design it in the ActiveOS designer. It's a different tool altogether. So this is something which is there. So we have to deploy the workflow over here. That BPR file which we'll be creating in the ActiveOS designer. So that's a complete different thing. So over here we can go ahead and monitor which is the active process which is going on for any workflow thing. So there are no active process as we don't have any workflow which is being deployed. So that is something we can go ahead and see it over here. Other than the default ones, I don't think so there should be any workflow which will be deployed. You can see all these are the default workflows. These are needed to run the working or proper working of E360. Okay. Over here we deploy that. And how we will be configuring, we'll see that part in provisioning tool, but we will not see how to create the workflows.
Okay, even for this E360 IDD, all those will also come under the same UI part, or
No. UI
when you
is
say UI, only this.
E360. E360, C360, these are the UI.
Okay, so
State
this
management
workflow
is
will fall
utilized
under
for,
all.
correct. Workflow is there for UI side, and the state management. This is there for either data manager or the batch.
Okay.
Okay.
So when a record is being created from UI, right? I mean, say data manager. If state management is enabled, then that will be also created with hub state indicator 0, right?
Correct. So if we are not specifying any attribute for that or the value for that, it will be converted as 1. If we are submitting the value, then it will be taking as 0 or 1, whatever we specify.
Sorry, I didn't get that. At specifying the value for what? For all the attributes, all the user defined attributes.
User defined attributes plus the hub state indicator. You have to send the hub state
Oh,
indicator
okay.
state management.
Oh, okay. If the hubs, okay. So if hub state indicator is not mentioned in the source, then it will be, the record will be created with hub state indicator 0.
1.
If it is not mentioned also
Correct.
while creating the record, it will be created with 1. If it is, oh, okay.
Over here, so you can see the
Oh,
default value is 1.
okay. Okay. So, okay. So if it is mentioned with 0, then so where exactly this comes into picture? Then hub state indicator, we can manually specify these values, right? With if it is 0, then it
In
will
the
be like
landing
pending, and if
table.
it is 1, then it will be active.
So when you will be pushing the data to landing table, you will also push the hub state indicator with that.
Yeah, correct. Yeah,
So
that
in
is
that
correct.
state, you will push the data as 0. And that
Got it.
0 will
Fine.
be going ahead and getting created in MDM.
Okay. Then where this comes into picture, that particular option you selected, right? That state management.
State management gives you the ability to update this attribute as user defined attribute. If you don't enable it, you cannot update the hub state indicator. It becomes a system attribute.
Okay, fine. So if it is not enabled, then when a new record is created, what will be the hub state indicator? It will be 0 first.
It will be always 1.
Oh, okay. So this approval process, everything is through that ActiveOS workflow only.
Correct.
Right. Okay. So if it comes under workflow, then it will be created with 0, and upon approval, it will get changed to 1. Am I right?
Correct. Okay. So over here, other
With
attributes.
normal, sorry, just to like add to Anish's question. So with normal flow, right? So data would be coming, so that would be getting updated with the one hub state indicator, right? Which comes from the source, or that will also be into pending state.
So if you are using source system, batch basic.
Yeah.
When I say source system, then it means batch. Okay. So batch means if you are putting the data into landing. Okay. So over here, if you have enabled the hub state management, then you can update hub state indicator. So over okay. So HSI will be updated from over here, and it will be updated till base object. It will also get updated accordingly. Okay. Now, if it is